on time.
Almost, right?
Almost. Closer than we've been in a long time.
Right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Cemetery Files. This is episode 21. We have a special guest, Charles Rosany. And
He's on his
we're
way.
just waiting for him to... Yeah, he's on his way. So we'll just kind of...
We'll get started. Oh, there he is.
There he is. Ta-da!
There he is. Ta-da! Shall we bring him in? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's go.
There he is. We'll bring him in. There he is. It worked.
Thank goodness. Great to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
How you doing, Charles?
Just got started.
I've been filing stuff at cemeteries around town is what I've been doing.
Oh, nice. That's always a good day.
Right. Yeah, some of my favorite places just to hang out and do nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. So we want to thank you for coming on. Yeah, this has been a little bit in the works. We've had a great season so far, and it just keeps getting better. So why don't we go ahead and let our listeners and our viewers know exactly who you are and what you're doing.
I wear many hats. Today I'm not wearing any of them, but I produce the Dracula tours to Transylvania, dractours.com. I've been taking groups of people who love vampire vacations to Romania for now 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I produce the paranormal conventions in Connecticut and in Salem, and we have a big one coming up November 11th and 12th at Salem State University, Salem, Massachusetts. I write books. I've got two out that are of genre interests. The one is the book of top 10 horror lists, and then True Ghost Stories of Connecticut.
Nice.
And I've been having a ball all month because just literally every weekday I've been at a different library in the state doing a presentation, signing copies of the book, just blabbing away and having fun.
I love it. That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, my first book comes out.
Yeah, it sounds like you're... Yeah, it does. So, yeah. So it sounds like you're super busy. So let's talk a little bit about the Paracon. I think I have a couple of my friends that are attending your Paragon as speakers.
Yes.
And Adam Began and Nathaniel Ewell.
Yes.
So
I think
they're
on. Pretty sure they're on at 3:00 on Saturday. We're just getting all the scheduling together. But that guest list is just, I'm really, really proud of it. And this morning, all along I was saying it's a Salem Paranormal and Horror Convention, and I'm seeing, we've got these great paranormal guests, but only really one horror guest. We have Tara Buckman from Silent Night, Deadly Night, and of Cannonball Run, and a bunch of credits. And just this morning, I was able to add two guests from Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Oh, far out.
Lauren and Bill Randall, who both, I think, got killed in the movie. I have to rewatch it. But so that now I feel good. We have vendors who have the horror merch. They have the paranormal stuff. So it's a better mix of the two. But I'm really looking forward to Adam and Nate's talk, because this is their first convention appearance. So it's exciting.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
And they chose you for their first.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We chose each other.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, Adam's really cool. I've known Adam for a few years now, and yeah, he's a great addition to your Paracon. I would agree.
I think so too. And he's he's very promotional minded. I love that he's constantly social media and sharing and creating. Very creative. He's a really special guy.
Yeah.
He is, very much so. Yeah. Talk a little bit about some of your experiences in the paranormal and some of the things that kind of gave a pivotal moment in your life that you said, hey, this is something that is really a part of me.
Yeah. So I came to the paranormal universe late in my life. I was always this horror kid, who loved monster movies and horror movies, everything monster, horror, all that. And I was running a haunted attraction actually in Connecticut, which is part of my genre portfolio. And a guy comes up and he tells me, the place is haunted. And I'm like, okay, whatever you say. I said, thanks. I obviously did a good job, because that's my job, is to make it haunted. Right, guys? No, he says, no, really. He says, let's talk about doing an event here. we did an event, and it was called Proving the Paranormal. And I was very impressed, not just by the presentation, but by the people's results. And I said, I want to do more. I want to get more involved. I want to immerse myself. I want to learn about this. Started doing paranormal investigations. We went to a place called Dudley Town, which just blew my mind, the results we got at a place like that. And in each place, I'm not a medium. I'm not psychic. I'm not clairvoyant. I don't feel the things that the people I go with do. But time and time again, they will say where to take a picture. And that's kind of, I want to say, my talent, if there's such a thing, aside from promoting and blabbing. It's the fact that they'll tell me where to take photos and amazing things will come out. The rule of thumb is you take 3 photos. I'll take 20, 30, 50, whatever it takes. And I'll get amazing shots and amazing shadow figures and things in the photos. There's one shot I have, which was taken in the Ansonia Opera House, which had been boarded up and untouched for so many years. And get in there, and I'm told to take a picture in this place. Everyone's feeling a cold air in there, and everyone's taking photos. Nothing's coming out. And I took one, and guys, there's these 2 Nosferatu-looking specters.
Wow.
About 10 feet off the ground, literally levitating across the room. And I got an amazing shot of it, which I used in the book. But I don't know if I had that one. What's ironic is that one pivotal moment that we talk about, I actually had in college. And I don't know if I just dismissed it as, okay, this is cool, seeing a ghost, or if it was a repressed memory and I intentionally didn't forget it. But when I went to publish the book, I remembered it so distinctly. And actually the person I had the encounter with, I sent them a copy of my chapter, and I said, please look this over. I don't want to embellish it. I don't want to add to it, make it spookier. If this is exactly how you remember it. He goes, Charles, verbatim, that's exactly how it happened. And it's the story of the Pink Lady in New Haven. And she would come out literally at a certain time on her porch, and no face, obviously an apparition, but with a flowing pink negligee. And I went with my buddy, and we saw him. I was so amazed that I brought my parents the next night, and we saw them too. We saw them the second night, and the third night, I'm like, this is amazing. I had to bring a car full of friends. And when I went the third night, I was looking across the street, and I'm thinking, wait, maybe someone is doing projections. Yeah, and nobody was. There was nothing across the street. It was demolished buildings. And I thought, well, now in retrospect, had it been happening now, I would have thought, well, someone has a remote control. They're doing something special. But in those days, no, it was the legitimate thing. And we never went back. And I didn't think of it until years later when I'm more in the paranormal field. I'm thinking, my God, I had this amazing thing, this amazing occurrence, and totally forgot about it. And I'm so glad I remembered it, so glad it happened, because it adds, for me, validity. It gives me credibility in my brain. I'm always the second guy on paranormal teams. There's the shaman and the showman. I'm the showman. I'm the one who comes in and plays. I play the skeptic. I play the non-believer. Yeah. And then, I'm the one that takes the pictures and shows the proof. So I'm loving every second of this experience. And I do some things tongue in cheek, but never in disrespect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that goes back to that saying you said in the beginning of the show, is that you were a man of many hats.
That's right.
When do you sleep? That's my question. When do you sleep?
Yeah, right.
Between 2 in the morning and 8.
God, I've got so much going on, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that one last thing and still sleep. Yeah.
You know what? I'm at the computer. Everyone's asleep in the house, and I'm like, I got one more share. One more thing. Got to add one more promotional item.
Right.
Yeah.
One more. Right. Just do one more.
So how long you been doing the Paracon?
So Paracon, we started right after COVID, and it was literally one of the first events in the state right after COVID, and it was Connecticut's first paranormal convention. There's 2 actually. There's one, the Warren Seekers event, Phantasmicon, which is actually coming up this coming weekend, and I'll be a guest there. And I'm actually, what you guys, you're gonna laugh, many hats. So my main way of making money is I'm a DJ. I do parties, I do events, weddings, all that stuff. So I'm DJing the pre-party, the VIP party on Friday night. And then on Saturday, I'll set up my table and hand out flyers and promote the Salem event. So everything kind of connects. What I'm really proud is that, that's my.
Oh, we lost him. We lost him.
We lost him.
We lost him.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
We'll keep going.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
Right.
Wow.
No, it sounds like he's got quite a bit going
Yeah.
on. And just in that small span of him speaking, I mean, it sounds like he's on the go all the time.
Shoot. I'm like,
I don't think I have that much energy.
well, I'm looking at all the stuff that's on my plate, and it's like he's pretty much right up there with me, and I'm like, where the fuck do you sleep? Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, but yeah, it sounds like that the Paracon is supposed to be, pretty huge. So I'm really happy for Adam and Nate and their speaking events, and kudos and shouts out to both of them.
Yeah.
Love you guys. I think that's an awesome thing that you guys are there, and yeah.
Well, that's a big event. I mean, Salem's one of the go-tos for even non-believers. They want to go to Salem. They want to go to Salem, Massachusetts. They want to do the witch stuff. Yeah, even non-believers.
Right. So, yeah, I would love to go to Salem too. A buddy of mine, Josh, that I had as a guest host once, he went to Salem with his wife, and it was around Halloween. I think it was last year, and they loved it. I mean, it was just more so the colors, I think, but yeah, I mean, it would be an experience to go to that, that town. And I think my wife just watched Hocus Pocus 1 and 2 with her friend.
Yeah, my favorites.
And her friend's never seen the first one.
Oh,
and she was like, "What?"
Oh, yeah, you got to see it.
Yeah, that's kind of that. Yeah, that's kind of like a mainstay for Salem, But
oh. Yeah, if anybody's questioning why we're drinking coffee and yawning, it's because we're both exhausted today. I mean, I'm still recovering from
we're
Tennessee
exhausted.
Hans. So what a great event that was. Oh my Lord. It was 10 rows or more. That's what I can count from my memory of vendors. Each side had maybe 5 vendors on each side, and it was just speakers and networking and all kinds of fun stuff.
Right.
And Charles is back.
Okay,
we filled him in as much as we could.
I never had it before. My phone said the temperature on the phone was too hot. I had to wait for it.
Jay has that issue.
I have that issue with my phone too. When I used to do it before I set up all this stuff, I had to do it in my car, and my phone would overheat every time.
It's like 50 degrees out. I don't get it, but I cranked the AC. So
there you go.
Right. But what I was saying is, and I appreciate you mentioning all the stuff that's going to be in my show. The show that I'm helping out with, I'm going to be DJing on Friday night and then vending on Saturday rather, and I'll mostly be, signing copies of both my books, but also handing out like tons of flyers for the Salem Paracon. And what's neat is that the two promoters of paranormal conventions in the state work hand in hand. They're guests at my show, I'm guest at their show. So it's really cool.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many vendors are you expecting at this program or at this show?
Last year we had about 50. So when all said and done, I think we'll have 50 also. At the Connecticut show, we reached 80, which I think was pushing it a little, but we have enough people to support it.
Good.
Between the vendors who sell the paranormal stuff, between there's psychics and readers and tarot card, all that stuff, and then there's horror merch, and there's the guests themselves. Most of the guests have tables, because some of them are authors or some of them have stuff to promote. So about 50 tables. And what we do differently, which I love, this is my personal preference, is everything's in the same room.
Oh, yeah.
So the guests speak
nice.
on stage, and the vendors can hear w's going on. If somebody's buying stuff, they're not missing a speaker. Everything, I don't have like a room just for the vendors, a room just for the special guests to sign, a room for the speakers, a room for the museum. Everything is contained. And
that's awesome.
I love doing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. It's just so everybody can be encompassed in everything that's going on.
And you never know what might spur the interest of somebody. And they may be buying a tchotchke for Aunt Julia at home and hear something in a speaker that just goes, oh, I know about that. And they become more interested in the paranormal through that.
So true. Right. Because so many people at different shows, and I'm guilty of this too, you pick up the program and then you get caught up in, oh, wow, this is such cool stuff. Yeah, I'm going to bring this from my kids. I'm going to get this for myself. And then you're like, oh, 3:30, I missed Sam Baltrusis. I don't want to miss it, that guy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you love someone on stage, even if you're not sitting in the front watching it. Yeah.
Right. You still get to hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a great thing for the Paracon I went to this last weekend had everything in one room, and that was just awesome.
Where was that? Which one was it?
That was Tennessee Haunts and Legends.
Oh wow. And how many vendors?
I'm gonna say I think we had at least 10 rows of them, and there may have been like 5 or 6 on each row. I don't remember. I didn't count them, but it was huge.
Nice.
It was the biggest one yet for us. So
when shows are successful, and every state should have 1 or 2, and as long as they get along and they have it at different times of the year, there's enough room.
Yeah.
Because
demand,
such a demand for it, and people love it.
And it gets so busy in October too.
October's ridiculous,
that's yeah.
I mean, first of all, if you go to Salem in October, and you should at least once in your life, find a place to park. You need to wait 2 hours for a restaurant. The hotels charge triple. So
God, no.
We do it November 12th. By then, the people in Salem can go, break over, and they want some more fun stuff. So we don't just get, the locals. We get a lot of people from out of state. It's very much a New England event.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, Salem's actually one of the ones that's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on my list as well. Yeah. Yep. I've never been there, but I mean, the people that I know that live in that area, and they talk about the history, especially just the old buildings along the colonies. I mean, just a lot of that stuff is just ripe with history, and I love it.
I'd probably walk through those buildings going, that one's haunted, that one's haunted, that one's haunted.
People associate Salem with the witches and the witch trials and all that stuff, and that's what's put it on the map. I contend that Connecticut deserves a similar recognition, but let Salem bask in that. But besides the witches, my God, there's so many buildings and schools and cemeteries, and it's an amazing place to visit. Not just for one day and go to a witch museum, but really spend 3-4 days there, and you're really going to soak it all in.
Yeah, I had somebody that was at the booth next to me at the event 2 weeks ago, and they were from Connecticut, and he does cemetery stone rehab.
Really?
Yes, he rebuilds cemetery stones. It's beyond the gravestone. And he does amazing work, and he was telling me how haunted Connecticut is.
Well, that makes sense, guys. Places that had incredible wars and bloodshed, and
all the emotions,
and then pound that with so much of Connecticut was built on Native American land and burial grounds. So you can, it makes sense. There's certain places that will just be, for common sense, be more haunted than others.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, it's a beautiful state.
Yeah, I love it. I'm a Bronx guy. I was born in New York. So to me, Connecticut is still country. I love it here.
Well, the thing that I find so fascinating after I moved over to Tennessee was how you could be in a different state so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, in Oregon, it was like you're driving clear across the state just to get to California. It's just an 8-hour drive. And here it's like 2 hours and you're in another state.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I think when I think, I've done all the investigations and gone to these places, some new ones pop up and the activity there just, wow. And, I haven't done out of the state yet, but I'm on the verge of that. But just every one we've done, it's really great because people have had results. And, sometimes you can go out to the most haunted place on the planet. I've gone to Borley, the rectory in England. I've gone to places in York and in London and around the world. Prior to being in the paranormal field, when I was doing the Dracula tours, I'm also doing ghost tours to very haunted places. And we've done, you're not going to believe it, we've been to Hungary, England, Ireland, Scotland, Cuba, Israel, Prague, Eastern Germany. We've done ghost tours to there. And I was just kind of the tour guide and a travel, the host to make sure everyone has fun. And we never had results, but we went to all the most haunted places. And now I go to places and it's nearly all results. And even the places that I would never expect, to get anything, we get amazing stuff on the spirit boxes. And I've had a lot of fun, and I've been able to team up with a lot of really great people. I'll do a shout out to Sean Austin from 28 Days Haunted on Netflix. We returned to the Captain Grant's Inn in Preston, Connecticut, which was the site of his 28 Days Haunted experience.
Nice.
And we did 2 weekends there. Some of the stuff that happened, we just mouth dropping, mind blowing. I'll just give you one example.
I'm getting chills. I love it.
One great example. So Captain Grant's, one of these sleepy towns in Connecticut. It's near some casinos, but in and itself, it's not, not the most urban of places. And it has a cemetery, family cemetery in the back, an old crypt, and in the front is the city ancient cemetery. And we come to discover that there's an old underground crypt at the cemetery. I mean, right, just hearing that makes it cool, right?
Yeah.
So
get me in.
3 different nights, everyone visited it. I did it. I stayed back. And everyone's like, Charles, you got to go. All right, next time. What happened is on the Sunday night, 2 folks came from Maine, and they were a little late. So they missed us going there earlier. I said, all right, I guess I'll go with you guys. And it was Sean Austin. I can't remember who else. These 2 people and myself. Now, 45 minutes earlier, everyone had gone to this underground crypt. They'd gone inside. They took photos. They used the meters and all that. Listen. When I went there 45 minutes later, all of a sudden, the path to this crypt was covered with leaves and trees and branches. It was no longer accessible.
Wow.
There's no human reason. First of all, if it was a human who was playing a prank, they would have had to have a team of 20 people do that in that time period. It happened so quickly. So it's something unknown, something, an anomaly that caused that area of entrance to the crypt to have been covered. Maybe some entity that was involved in the crypt said, hey, enough visitors this weekend or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Wow. That's insane. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome to get. So
that is
after
cool.
the Paracon, so we've got which one's coming up now? The Connecticut one or the Salem one?
So I'll tell you what's coming up in order. This weekend, I'm finishing up my haunted attraction in Connecticut called Haunted Trolley.
Nice.
Okay. Event on an actual ancient trolley line.
Cool.
Last year we did very paranormal with a seance with ghost stories. This year we went the murder mystery route. So that ends this weekend.
Love it.
It's full tilt promotion till November 11th and 12th. and that's the Salem Paranormal and Horror Convention, salemparacon.org. But every night, tonight I'm in a place called Monroe, Connecticut. Tomorrow I'm in Darien, Connecticut. The night after I'm in Milford. Every night I'm doing book signings in libraries. And then in December, we're doing a psychic fair. It's called, I wish I had the flyer, I would show you. It's called the Connecticut Holiday Psychic Fair Fest. And it's in a place, you're going to love this, called the Witch Doctor Brewery.
Wow, I'm there. Beer and paranormal, hands down, I'm there.
It's a place called Southington, Connecticut. And so that's a free admission show. The first time I've ever done a free admission show, 20 vendors. It'll be amazing because sort of for the holidays, I wanted to give back to the paranormal family that's been supporting me and coming to all the events. So we do a free admission show on December 9th and 10th at the Witch Doctor Brewery in Southington. And meanwhile, I'm just pumping out copies of True Ghost Stories of Connecticut. People are loving it. The website for that is www.paranormalconnecticut.com. Yeah. And then my first book, which is more horror than paranormal, is the Book of Top 10 Horror Lists. And the website for that is bookoftop10horrorlists.com.
That's awesome.
Wow. So it sounds like you've got a lot going on.
You know what? I would go crazy if I didn't. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, I came from softball this morning. I played a doubleheader. And when you win one, you have to play two. So I had to play two. That was the close call. I have a full life and a beautiful family. And I'm blessed that everything that I do, I love. But everything I do brings a lot of people joy.
Yeah.
Whether it's the DJing or the conventions or the tours. So, nice little niche here.
So, do you have a crew that helps you out, or is it just you that goes out and
Well, forever I had a
dumps
partner. No, forever I had a partner. We were the shaman and the showman. And so now it's what fits the event. I'll bring in a different shaman for a different event, and I'll have, that paranormal, for lack of a better word, the knowledgeable one who really knows the stuff, who brings all the equipment along. Mm-hmm. I'll book the places, I'll organize. What I love doing is the full night experience where we'll have dinner together, we'll do an orientation, I'll BS for a little while and talk about my history and how I got involved with this. Then we'll teach everyone who are newbies how to use equipment. Some will bring their own. Some have been on numerous ones and they'll bring their own. And then we go to the place and really do an investigation. So, a lot of people do that in different parts of the country, obviously, but it really wasn't done that same way in Connecticut. And that's sort of my niche. And we try to do a once-a-month event.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get events going.
Yeah, that would be cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, when you're doing these events, you were talking about the way you you have dinner with them and you do all this other stuff. Has that always been something that you wanted to do, or did you just start doing that, or is that?
Well, so when I did the Paracon, that really just opened my eyes to how many people. I didn't understand how many people were into it. And I'm not going to say that I got it from the commercial point of view, but I got it from the entertainment point of view, as well as, I see both sides. And I saw the people, who lived and breathed it. And I saw the people who liked it casually, like myself. And I thought, we've got to be ways to combine the two, because I understand the purists, and I understand that, being an outsider to this, I needed to align myself with people who are on the inside. And I wanted to really always do things that would gain respect. I never wanted to do anything that was embarrassing. And so we always would pick places that in the beginning were very well known and unheard and untapped. So I had that right balance of places that, well, when I mentioned Dudleytown, that's the place people always wanted to go to. We were able to go there 3 times before we got that cease and desist. But we had amazing
those pesky little cease and desists.
But I was saying, so the same way the Connecticut Paracon led to us doing, these like monthly or so paranormal investigations, it also led to the book, because I met so many people who had so many, and I would come up and say, you got to have like this one great story you want to share. And the answer would be one great story. I got dozens. I got hundreds. And I say, no. I need one. Because if you could give me the one, wow, the one that, will shock people, the one that no one will believe, but is true, I will put that in a book. That was literally my criteria for putting together True Ghost Stories of Connecticut. Because as you guys know, whether it's haunted Kentucky, haunted Alabama, haunted anything, those books are out there and they're great, but they'll pretty much tell you the history of the place,
right,
and where it's located. I didn't want that. That's been done. What I wanted to do is I wanted to tell stories of what happened in those places. I wanted to, so the criteria was A, it had to have something to do with Connecticut, and B, it had to be true. I didn't want embellishing. I didn't want phoning it up. I didn't want to make it more scary. And by meeting all these people at the Paracon, I literally found like 30 contributors to that first book. And what happened was, you'll get a kick out of this, guys. The next year's convention, when the book was ready, a lot of the people who contributed chapters to the book were either guests or vendors or visitors at the convention.
Very cool.
So I would sell the book, I'd sign the front, and it was like a scavenger hunt. People would go through the room getting everyone's autograph. So
that's awesome.
Like 15, 20 signatures in the same book. So
that would be so cool.
So cool, right?
Oh, awesome. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have the air conditioning on anymore.
Yeah, so
I'm trusting.
It sounds like you're in a wind tunnel.
No. The phone should be cooled enough now.
Yeah, sit it in a bowl of ice. There we go. Okay, so we got all that going on. So what are your plans for 2024? What's the one unusual thing you're going to do for 2024?
I've got a book coming out on the monkeys. Nothing to do with Paracon. No. So obviously I'm going to do a 2024 Connecticut Paracon sometime spring or summer. But I really wanted to, and I haven't found the place for it. I really wanted to do the Amityville Horror and Paranormal Convention, Amity Horror and Paranormal, because there's a lot of haunted events in and around Long Island, but there's not a convention per se. But I haven't found the right location for it. So that's been on the on the checklist of things to do, and just visit a lot more places and have a lot more events, so that people can do this monthly gravitation. I plan to do 2 or 3 more psychic fairs in the state, because they're fun and easy, and the vendors just love them. And then I have to think of what I'm going to do for the haunted trolley, because when I used to have a haunted attraction called Fright Haven, it was easy. I'd throw in the actors, I would change some of the scenery, and it would be the same year to year to year. But on the trolley, I've sort of set a higher stupid goal for myself, and that's to give myself a lot of work and to change it up every single year. So now I'm going to spend quite a few months coming up with another theme for it, because you're only allowed 40 passengers on the trolley. It's not like hundreds and thousands of people are coming through the doors like I used to have at my normal haunted attractions. So to give them a special curated event, you got to entertain them while they're there. It's 20 minutes one way, 20 minutes another. That's a long time to be on a trolley without entertainment. So I got to fill that pretty carefully. I don't know what I'm going to do next year, but I have to top myself somehow, right, guys?
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, you always have to top yourself.
Right. It just seems that you've got so many irons in the fire that it's just
ridiculous.
It is. It's kind of ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know how you do it. But talking about some events like you're going to, like the trolley thing next year, has there been a moment where you had something like come to you, like an idea for like a paranormal or Paracon that you just haven't made happen yet?
Oh, it's a great question. So I'm not reinventing the wheel. I mean, what I'm doing is being done in other places. I just feel that if I add my personality and I give people, fair value, that all the events that I do are going to be successful. I always go into everything I do with that thought. What I've been getting a lot of recently is nothing to do with the paranormal, is the people who've taken the Dracula tours with me and have gone on the ghost tours to all these places in Europe and everywhere else are like, Charles, where are we going in 2024? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate to admit I don't have the time.
Virginia City.
To fly out to France or Italy or somewhere really special.
Right.
Notre Dame. There's places that are in the back of my brain that I'd like to bring people to on these tours, but then I'm promoting it and taking away from something else, and then I got to be away for a week, when I'm hosting it. So I don't know. This year was library year, pushing the books. I also produce, as if it's not enough, right? I produce the Beatle festivals around the state and overseas, and I also do Beatle tours to Liverpool. So that suffered this year because I wasn't able to do an actual festival in Connecticut because I was so involved in everything else. So as much as I'd like to think that I can get everything done and wear all those hats, you're burning every candle. One of them burns out before the others. So yeah, I'm going to probably go with, 2 or 3 or 4 psychic fairs, 1 major paranormal convention in Connecticut again, the Salem show, God willing, it'll be successful this year, it'll be successful next year, and then a bunch of, paranormal investigation visits, which will include the dinner, the orientation, and then the actual locations.
Right.
Very
cool. Wow. Yeah, you gotta watch yourself on that candle burning thing. I had a doctor that said, not only have you found a way to burn the candle at both ends, but you found a way to start it in the middle. So you can't do that.
Yeah, right.
And I can't let my phone get too hot either, I discovered.
Right? Right. And that's somebody telling you something.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, right. So with the ParaCon that you have coming up in November,
yes.
Is there anything that you want to promote, anything that you want to tell our listeners what they could expect, or anything special that you want to share?
Yeah, thank you, because I probably wouldn't have mentioned it, and I should. If you go to the website, obviously you're going to see all the guests. They're going to have vendors. All the guests are going to be very accessible. They're going to sign autographs, take pictures. Most of them will talk on stage. But aside from that, there's a gallery done by Scott Allen, I believe from Boston, and him and his partner Christopher are going to do a separate galley at 1:00 each day as part of the event. On the campus right near where we're having the convention. So you're going to get an extra dose of a paranormal gallery. Also, I haven't announced the location, but our main guest, world famous mentalist, the amazing Kreskin, is going to be doing a night event, and we haven't announced the location. And just because we've been working with 3 different places that want to have them, and I'm thinking, well, one is cooler, but it's a little further. One is nice and it's local, but they want to have it early in the evening. I wanted to let people go to dinner and then go to that. So I'm weighing them all, and I'm going to have to announce it quickly because the show is November 11th and 12th. But those are the 2 things that people should know that is not yet on the website, not yet in our social media, but there's a 1:00 separate paranormal gallery going on. And then in the evening, the world famous amazing Kreskin will be doing his show, which he's been doing probably 50 or 60 years. He's the OG. I love saying, that when people think of the paranormal, the Warrens, right, comes to mind.
Yeah.
That's the first name, especially in Connecticut, because that's where they're from. When you talk about magic, it's Houdini, right? Of course. When you think about mentalism and mind reading, if you're of a certain age, you go back and remember Kreskin on the Johnny Carson show. And having his own ESP board game. And he was just whatever he did then, he still does. And the people are like, how did he do it? I'll share a story with you guys you'll appreciate. in his prime, he was doing, let's say, 300 shows a year, right? He'd be booked all over the place. And part of his actual event was put his check, his payment for the event, in an envelope and hide it in the room. And he would find the check, or else he doesn't get paid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, he never didn't find the check. And it wasn't like he spent 2 hours looking at every corner. He would blindfold himself. He would, whatever it was, and he would find it. And I've seen it because I paid him to appear at events, and I thought I hid it in the right place, and he always found it. So the man has some either incredible talents or unbelievable tricks that no one knows. And he's written a bunch of books, but he's never given the secrets to his secrets.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a couple people that I've ran into that they just, you wonder how they do it, and it's crazy, but it's people like that bring a crowd that people can actually go and see, like the Crest can just, people can have a good time and enjoy, the classic or, something like that. So kudos to you for having him, with that Paracon, because that's a nice draw. That's really awesome.
That is really great draw.
We had him in Connecticut, and people just they love him, and they were so respectful. And they come over and he signs autographs. He has books out. They get his book. But when we did the Connecticut show, we had an after event at the church, believe it or not, next door. And the church, just don't do anything demonic, please. I go, no. And we brought in, the opening act was Kreskin. And he said he wanted to open. And it was a twin bill. And we also had John Zaffis.
I love John. Collector. He is such a sweetheart.
I love John. And I had to say, nothing demonic, no exorcism. This is it. He goes, Charles, I get it.
That's a good John Zaffis, by the way.
You probably have learned that you need to put disclaimers in some of that stuff for your. Don't do this. Don't do that.
Don't do this.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. Sometimes more with the guests than the attendees. It's true.
Right.
It reminds me when we did the Haunted Trolley last year. Part of it, I call it a seance, but it was a scrying session, and you and your audience know what a scrying session is. And we actually did that on the trolley, and it was a shamanic trance, and we had the camp, and people, and people were looking in, and some had results, but one woman comes off, and she goes, "How dare you do this?" And I'm like, "What? Calm down, And I'm thinking that you're wasting everyone's time, and there were no results, because most people don't have results, and they walk off, and they're, all right, well, it was fun, but I didn't have any kind of experience. She goes, "Don't you know you opened a portal? There were portals to demons on the other side." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know we did that, and I don't think we did it." And he closed it at the end. She goes, "No," and she came this year to the murder mystery, and she comes, "That was a lot more fun." He was sincerely afraid, and maybe I gotta give her a little. I'll give her the respect that maybe she saw something coming out, or maybe she had an experience that some of us didn't. I always have to understand that there's that possibility.
Yeah.
Or she was nuts. Whatever the case may be. She did that.
Right.
She came back.
I'm going for the later, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's things that other people experience that you don't know what triggers them, and you can't be responsible for that.
So we did a scrying session, the first time I was ever part of one, and it was sold out. We had 50 people, called it Proving the Paranormal. This was my early years of this, and I was on the outside, and when people came out, I was ready for the worst. I was ready to get beat up. You wasted our time, blah, blah, blah. First one out said, "Oh my God, I saw dead relatives." And I'm like, "Really?" Next one out said, "I was staring in the mirror. I was in my chair and I started levitating." And I'm like, this is like people coming out thanking me for putting on this event, and they're having now. The third one was the one that shocked me. It was a friend of mine from Trumbull. He runs those escape rooms.
Yeah.
And he came with his family, and he was one of those, how long is this going to be? Looking at his watch, rolling his eyes. I go, why are you even here? He goes, well, they wanted to come. I'll hang out with them. He comes out, and his face is white as a ghost, sort of like the glare on my head. And he's Charles. You won't believe it. I go, what? He goes, I was staring in the mirror, and all the people were on my side, and they were still in the mirror, and I disappeared. And I couldn't get myself back in the reflection. I go, you're bullshit. You're not really. He goes, yes,
wow.
Yes, honestly. And the girl's walking behind him, totally unrelated. She goes, oh my God, you're not going to believe this. I saw myself in the mirror, and everyone else disappeared. So that was really the first major paranormal event that I was involved in. And I'm not going to say that I was like, I was converted by that. But I'm like, there's obviously something to this. That was the first thing that triggered it. And as I continued and as I did more and more, well, it's more and more obvious that there is unexplained things, and there's a lot to this whole paranormal thing. And I still consider myself, as much as I'm doing all these events, I'm still that outsider because I don't have that third eye. I don't have the sixth sense. And the people who I'm with do, and the people who attend are certainly do. And what I find,
Charles, you need to stop referring to yourself as an outsider. You're not. You're just a different element of the paranormal. And without those that promote and have that ability, we can't progress. Because we have to have people like you that promote, that get us out there and bring this to the forefront of people that are normal.
Right.
Thank you.
And
you're not an outsider. You're just a different element.
Me and Kelly both are gifted. And so, I mean, it's without people like you that promote and do all that stuff. Yeah, it's a main thing.
That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah. No, I find myself being an apologist at times, and thank you. That means a lot when you're saying that. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know. And when I do my library, my library appearances, and I tell the stories about the scrying session, and I talk about my book and all the great stories in it, I give way to then I introduce my colleague at the event. I'm not the one who at that point will show the equipment and take the people around these ancient libraries on the things. I'm still the one who's doing the introduction, and I'm still the one as an insider. I'm not going to say outsider, as an insider, but I still defer.
You're an enabler.
All right. I like that word. I'm an enabler. And I still defer to the people who've had more experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, but without people like you, we wouldn't be anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you for that.
I mean, there's a reason why that you're on the show. I mean, that's the plain and simple. I mean, everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
And having all the great vendors and guests at your Paracons and your other events, and all those people are put in your path for a reason. All of them are there. They're not NPCs. They're supposed to be there. I mean, they're kind of soak it in, because being humble. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
You're doing. There's not very many of you in the field. There's not very many that one, you're introducing this to other people that are quote unquote normal, but you're also giving us an avenue where we feel safe to express ourselves.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I'm very proud of that aspect of.
You have a very integral part to this.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
That means a lot.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, talking a little bit farther about, or taking a little bit further about the Paracons, do you have something like investigation wise that you have that you want to promote?
No, actually, no, because I figure that I have too much going on with the trolley October, Salem Paracon November. Connecticut Holiday Fair Fest, December, that what I was doing, interestingly enough, is I was having multiple events in the same month, and I was feeling that I was shortchanging one with promotion. And I think that if I now wait and do my next event, January is tough because it is freezing in New England.
Yeah.
In January, February, really tough. But maybe take off a month.
Oh, we lost him again. The phone.
Oh,
the phone's overheating. Quick, turn on the air conditioning.
Right.
He'll be here. There he is. Turn on the air conditioning. we have a question from the audience.
What?
We do.
Dan Draper. Do you still investigate cemeteries?
Yeah, one of my favorite ones, we try to do it once a year. It's called Stepney Cemetery. Stepney is like a little neighborhood in Monroe, Connecticut. And if you know your history, Monroe is where the Warrens come from. And you won't believe I'm doing a library today at 5:30 in Monroe, Connecticut, the Edith Wheeler Library. But the Warrens are buried there. And this place is very famous because the White Lady ghost, she travels from the Union Cemetery in Easton, Connecticut, spends time there, and spends time in the Stepney Cemetery. So I love to do investigations at that one particular one because there's across the street, there's a witch paranormal store called Effigy. Shout out to my friends at Effigy. We go for pizza across the street. Perfect. We walk to the cemetery where the back is very, very haunted. There's this amazing shed, which was probably the crypt keeper's, where he kept his stuff, but it's got a cross on it, which really it's so strong because that it's warding off things. And then next door is the church where apparently, and I can only go by what I've been told, more, because they don't keep records of this, more exorcisms were done there than any other place in the United States. Wow. So that is a hit place where there's so many things to do within the 3 or 4 hours that we go there that I love going to. So thank you for asking that. Stepney Cemetery. The other cemeteries I mentioned earlier is the two that are at Captain Grant's in Preston, Connecticut, because it's got the family plots in the back, the old tombstones, and in the front, you want to say the new cemetery. It's not. It also goes back to 1700s, whatever, but it's the town's cemetery. And in my book, people talk about different cemeteries that I haven't been to yet. And I just wanted to bring people to a cemetery and say, yeah, it's haunted. I want there to be actual reasons and history behind it. There's another one in Stratford, Connecticut called Booth Memorial, where there's a witch's coven area where they used to practice. And then there's these old buildings owned by Satanists, this family that had a lot of money and was building, but they're in that cemetery, which is next to all those places. So we've done a few great paranormal investigations to that area in Stratford, and those have been very successful. But yeah, I want to add more cemeteries. Nice. There's an Oak Hill Cemetery in Southington, where I thought, well, maybe I'll add it, after we do the Connecticut Holiday Fair Fest, which is in Southington. I thought, well, maybe I'll do a night event, but it's just too much too soon. So that's on the docket for the future.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it just gets to be too much after a while. And it's like, when do you take a rest?
Right. So I wanted to suggest something to you, Charles.
Please.
For a future event, think of, and I'm just going to say this and you can run with it, and think of Spiritualism 1920. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Yeah, that keeps coming into my mind, and that I was to mention it to you. Spiritualism 1920. Okay. Yeah.
What else do we got here?
Well,
just think about it.
I was born in 1920, so this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. We got to get down to old Raleigh.
Yeah.
What I read it to me.
It says, maybe when your touring speaking events will allow, you can check out Old Raleigh Cemetery in Memphis, Tennessee.
I would love to. I've only been to Memphis once, and I didn't do anything
Me
paranormal.
too.
I know I went to Graceland. I went to Pigeon Fork. Was that near there? I'm trying to
Pigeon
remember.
Forge is up in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's clear across on the other side of the state.
But I went there. I went there too forever.
Yeah.
And
I'm in Tennessee.
Loved it, but I have not been back. And I would love so many places I want to go to. You know, I was happy I did a ghost tour weekend to New Orleans, and we had a phenomenal time.
New Orleans is on my list.
Yeah, it's a must. And spend a few days, you know, do the ghost tour, go do the ghost tour one night, voodoo tour another night, zombie tour another night. There's just so much to do there, and it's such a hip town. I loved it.
The food, just for the food.
Not a town, a city. Forgive me, New Orleans.
It's so gorgeous. Just beautiful.
Yeah, I think we're about wrapping it up.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Thank you guys so
thank
much.
you so much.
Yes, you've been
your graciousness in getting this arranged is just thank you thank you
so much.
I love you guys. I hope we get to share some experiences together in the future.
I do too. If you come to Tennessee, look me up because I'm here in Tennessee.
Definitely.
And I'll go with you.
One more plug, SalemParacon.org. Come visit. It's at it's only $19.99 to get in. Salem at the Salem State University South Campus, Salem, Massachusetts. I look forward to meeting fans there and meeting, you know, new people, old friends, fans of, you know, the supernatural, fans of our guest speakers, and it's just like a big family. So
that
we look
is
forward
just
to
awesome. That is just awesome.
Right. So everybody, we want to thank Charles for coming. Just be, you know, I'm very happy that we actually had this time to talk with you and to find out everything about the Paracons and about, you know, what you got going on in the future. And remember that spiritualism 1920. I'm telling you this.
Let me type it in.
Spiritualism 1920.
Putting it in the phone as we're
that actually might be a good little theme for you.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a lot going on during that time period. Interesting stuff.
Right. Yeah. So, well, again, we want to thank everybody for being here to watch this show. We will be on next Monday at noon, as far as I know.
And hang tight. We have next Monday is going to be Miranda Young.
Miranda Young will be there.
Ghost Biker.
Nice. All right.
We get to talk motorcycles.
So thank you, Charles. Thank you, everybody.
Guys.
You can find it. You can find this uploaded onto everywhere you get your podcast, iHeartRadio, Apple, whatnot. So it'll also be up on YouTube. So we want to thank you again.
The Cemetery Files rocks. We love you.
Thank you.